Main event. What do
Brandon
we got?
Royval versus Tatsuro Taira. Man, going into this one, I was excited, right? I'm high on Taira right now. Um, he was going into this still undefeated at 16-0. Royval, we absolutely know, is a dog, man.
Raw
No
dog.
matter who he's tossed in there, he always makes the fight super exciting. He's got great striking. He's very good on the ground, dude. Off his back, he's absolutely dangerous, which I'm sure we're going to cover this even more. But yes, what'd you think of the fight?
Yeah, I mean, same thing like you said. Tatsuro, I've been high on for a while now since he got into the UFC,
Hmm.
and then Royval, and stylistically, I thought Royval edge in the striking, Tatsuro edge on the ground, right? But Royval is so scrambly on the ground. Like we should see some cool exchanges in the grappling with these two. So on the feet, it'll be exciting. On the ground, it'll be exciting, and that's pretty much what we got, right?
100%. 100%. And look, this was a grappler's delight, this entire
Yeah.
fight. You know, Tyra seemed a little hesitant in the first round. Um, and he was getting caught sometimes, right? Like when he tried
Yeah.
to enter, Royval had that quick shot right down the middle that would stun Tyra real quick. So I could see why he was so hesitant.
Hmm.
Royval had some slick counters, especially in the first round. Um, and Tyra finally gets a takedown at the end of the first, right?
Yeah, yeah, and you can see he tried a couple times, or I think maybe he just failed once in the first round and then got it at the end, right?
Yep.
Um, but yeah, like you said, one of the things that uh, like you mentioned Tyro being hesitant on the feet, and one of the things that Dominic Cruz was talking about was how, yeah, Royval is very offensive focused, and
Hmm.
Tatsuro is very defensive focused. And he's like,
Hmm.
it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out over the course of the fight. But one of the things that he referenced was how Royval constantly switches stances, and that's
Yes.
something that usually it's offensively based, is why you're doing that. And you could tell Royval was much more comfortable in an open stance matchup than Tatsuro was because, like you said, he was kind of hesitant in the open stance because he wanted to jab, and the jab's not quite there. Open stance, it's different. And whereas Royval could start throwing that rear hand first, straight
Mm,
through, meet him in the middle, and then he started landing the lead uppercut. So he go left rear hand straight, and then a right uppercut with his lead hand, and it was just like pop 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 over and over and over again. And
money.
Tatsuro was like, fucking hell, man.
Yeah.
Like he didn't find the uppercut until the third round, but that type of, I think that's what led to the hesitancy of Tatsuro, where he was like, I'm still not used to fighting southpaws. Whereas Royval's like, I can fight. I know the weaknesses. Yeah, my defense might be lacking when I switch stances, but I know how to work that offense against someone who hasn't been in this game as long. Especially a grappler
Yes.
first.
Yes.
But
And
like,
Blunderbuff says, man, both of these guys had one fantastic round each. Fun fight overall as well. Yeah. And that's so fun, dude, because like sometimes you have some fights where you're like, oh man, that was close. I wonder who it's going to. For me, I felt like every round was very clear who
yeah,
that round was going to. So going into the fifth, I was like, dude, it's coming down to the fifth in this one.
yeah, because the first round, like you said, Tatsudo hesitant, Royval really lighting him up. Second round was just dominant grappling from Tatsudo.
Oh,
Uh,
the
to,
body triangle for Tatsuro is so
oh my
good.
god, dude!
Next level, dude.
And Royval was working well. Like he was trying to scramble his way out of those positions, and
Yes.
like he was doing good work. It's
Turning his
just,
body in the right direction. Then he
yeah,
was pushing the knee off to the side, right?
yeah.
And Tatsuro gets that, what was it, the half clamp, or what do they call that on the
The
opposite end?
Yeah, the quarter, he would get the quarter Nelson where he would end up almost perpendicular across the back, where he would reach all the way over because he's getting turned to the side, right? And I think if I'm getting turned to the side, I don't have your back anymore. I'm on your hip. I can reach around your back, get that quarter Nelson on your far side
Yes.
arm, and use that as leverage to stop you from spinning me and pull myself back over onto your back. And it was
So
just
good.
beautiful, dude.
Power half Nelson. Thank you,
Half
Blunderbuff.
Nelson, quarter Nelson,
Yeah.
half Nelson, one third Nelson. Who cares?
Yeah,
It's
but
a
he
Nelson.
did a great job,
Yeah.
right? Using that to counter Royval's counter. But it was
Yeah.
such a chess match on the ground. And
Yeah.
then the third
The
round
third
rolled
round, dude.
around.
Third round was, if it weren't for Zellhuber versus Esteban over at the Sphere on Noche UFC, this would be my round of the year because,
Ooh, so
dude,
good.
Royval this is where Royval found that left straight right uppercut, and Tatsuro was just getting clipped over and over and over again and hurt bad. There was one point where he kind of shot desperately, and Royval timed a knee perfectly that just
Oh,
stopped him in his tracks, dropped him to
yeah.
his knees. But then Tatsuro just, like you said, this was the big test. We've never seen him in this type of situation. How's he going to respond? Is he going to dig deep and come through, or is
And
this
he
going to be the
did.
end? And he did.
He
And not
did.
only, but then he ended up on his back again at the end of the round. And you're like, dude, this guy is crazy, dude. I mean, even Fitzgerald was like, Tatsuro's never seen a fourth round before in his career, and he might not have to because as he was saying it, he ended up turning the tide. It was only like 30 seconds
Oh,
left, right?
yeah.
But
So close to sinking in the rear naked choke, I thought.
it was close.
And
And
but at the same time, you're asking yourself, like, how much gas does he have left in the tank? Because at this point, he was
yeah,
looking pretty tired, right?
and
He
beat,
and
not just
yeah,
tired.
and like you see him, and I'm like, oh, he has a sunk in. Royval reaches over for the hand and starts pulling down, and he breaks the grip.
Yeah.
Tatsuro almost sinks it again, reaches over for the hand, rolls over, and pulls it down. And I was like, oh, so close, over and over again.
Yeah, and usually you can grab like the rear naked choke this way, right? Where
Yeah.
you have their neck and then you put your hand on the back of it. You want to reach across the back of the head, but most of the time in MMA, because of the gloves, you push down on the back of the head and with your hand. A lot of times the person who's in the choke can reach back, grab that top hand that's on the top of your head and pull it over their head, and then you lose the choke. But when that happens, usually you'll switch from this, right, to
Hmm.
this, and you'll switch to the gable grip, and that's a lot harder to pull back, right?
Hmm.
But if you're exhausted and you don't have the strength to squeeze on that gable grip, it's just crazy, man. You can't keep it going. And real quick, shout out John Dong. Sup, guys? Great name.
Sick
Um,
name.
yeah, sick name. But uh, I mean, that third round was legitimately eye-opening for Tatsuro because there was one point too where he tried to go for a hip toss and
Yes.
ended up diving on the leg, right? And a lot of times we've seen people go for a leg in desperation, get stuck there, and then just get destroyed with ground and pound. And it looked like that was going to be it because when he dove for the leg, Royval just sat up and just starts blasting him with punches, and Tatsuro immediately ditches, scrambles to get back up, and then ends up taking his back. And you're like, dude, this guy. That was the moment where if you don't have that heart and that like will to continue in those moments, that's where you kind of fold a little bit and you get TKO'd, and it is what it is. But he didn't,
Yes.
which is very
Yes.
impressive. You know, it's even more impressive
The fourth round?
the fourth round because
Yeah,
he
they trade a
got
couple of shots, and then he ends up taking Royval down again. And I believe this is one where he takes his back. He starts working, trying to sink in the rear naked choke. Is this one where he
up against the
pushes off the cage?
yeah, he has one hook in.
Yeah.
Royval is doing a great job defending up against the fence, trying to stop him from taking his back. He jumps the back, has a hook in, puts his right leg, which is going around his back, pushes off the cage, kicks off the cage, drags him down, stays on him. Very good at maintaining top position in all these scrambles, Tatsuro. Like incredible. And this round, he actually started going more so because if there's one thing I could knock on him is that he didn't do much damage in those dominant rounds, you know.
Yes.
Um,
Because
but in
he
this
was very
round,
much position over submission, right? Not to
yeah,
say that he didn't try to finish the fight, not to say that he didn't try to land some shots, but
mhm,
you see the exact opposite in Roy Ball, where as soon as he has control on somebody, he's going for the armbar, he's going for the rear
yeah,
naked choke.
which cost him,
He's
right?
oh he stay yeah, it costs him, but he stays active at all times.
Yeah, but and one thing that really impressed me in this was the fact that they got into that same position, the half Nelson, where Royval was trying to pull the knee across his body to spin him around, right? And he goes across the back to the half Nelson, and then he reaches up with the top hand with his bottom hand, he's pulling the right arm of Royval down towards his waist, and with his top hand, his left arm, he just reaches up and goes bam, and just goes like 3 or 4 nasty elbows to the side of Royval's head, and I'm like, there we go. That's what
Yeah,
you need. You need to
yeah,
start really doing damage now because not only is it about winning rounds and stuff like that, but the best way to if you have a dominant grappling round, the best way to continue that is if you're doing damage because once that round's over, you start on your feet the next round, Royval's ready to go.
Mm,
and if you can do some damage, get him a little concussed, he's starting on his feet, yeah, but he's not starting at 100% anymore.
yeah.
Whereas a lay and pray round, not that this was, but a lay and pray round, you start fresh the next round and you're good to go. So that was impressive to see. But Royval said, I don't really give a fuck about all that because the fifth round started and the dude, I mean, that's when he really put it on. And
Yes.
Tatsuro really did tough it out. And like Blunderbub said, talk about a momentum killer. Super impressive taking all that punishment in the third. Uh, and yeah, I think you mean like taking all that and then still taking the
Coming
back
into the
and
fourth.
controlling the fourth and winning that
Yes.
round. So
So
you go
going
into the
into the
fifth.
fifth, and I
Yeah.
like at this point, I'm like, this it's coming down to the fifth. This is it,
Yeah.
right? I had rounds 1 and 3 for Royval, 2 and 4 for Taira. And
Yeah.
so I'm not scoring this like your boy Sal Diamato. I'm scoring this like I see it at home,
Yeah.
you know?
Not
Uh
like you have money on the line.
no, I'm the professional couch judge. And I thought
Yeah.
to myself, for sure, 2-2 going into the fifth.
Yeah, and the fifth round was fucking awesome, dude. Royval, the cardio of Royval is so impressive, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I
Always
mean,
training in altitude.
yeah, granted, this weight class you don't see a ton of people gassing, but I mean, weaponized cardio is one of the things that is in Royval's arsenal. Ganskow says easily 2-2
Thank you,
going
Ganskow. I
into the
agree with
fifth.
you.
Yeah, I think only one person in the world didn't have this 2-2 going into the fifth. Actually, I don't know what did he have going into this? Because
He had it
he's
3-1,
yeah,
didn't
but what
he?
rounds, do you know?
It was rounds 1, 2, and 4.
1, 2,
Yeah,
and
1,
4.
2, and 4.
I guess 1 is arguable, I guess, but not really. It's better
Mm,
at least he didn't give him the 5th round. That'd
no,
be
he did
crazy.
not. It was 1, 2, and 4 he gave to
Yeah.
Tatsuro Taira. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Eh,
Dansko says the gym breakup in Denver had me worried about Royval we would get. Yeah, you never know, dude. That's the gym drama can really affect some people. Look at Kevin Lee, right? Not that that was necessarily gym drama, but, um, his coach dies and, like, I honestly think if that
he just
hadn't have
never
happened.
found a home after that.
Yeah, and it was like yeah, and that happens all the time. It doesn't need to be your coach dying. It could be a bunch of different stuff, but gym drama can legitimately
Yeah.
tank a career. Um, but, Royval, ends up taking his back, and he's threatening to choke because I mean, he was really putting it on him there at the end of the fight. Um, this is like a moral victory for Tatsuro, I think. He didn't win the fight, but, there's definitely things he could take from this. I think this is a really good moment in his career to lose a fight like this. He didn't get knocked out. He didn't get flatlined or anything crazy like that. He stuck through it. He went all 5 rounds.
Stock goes up.
Stock goes up. He's still so young, and there's
He's
still so
24
much
years old,
future.
dude.
Yeah, it's
He's
great. This was his
24
first
years old.
loss. His first loss
Yeah.
was against number 1 in the division.
Come on,
That's
dude. And
crazy,
he
dude.
gave him everything he could handle. Royval said,
Yeah.
I thought I was going to come in here, in 2 minutes, be able to
Yeah.
finish it up. But he said, this guy's going to be a champion, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get him there. That was awesome.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, they trained before in the past, and he was like, "Anything you need from me, um, like, I got you." Literally anything. He's like, a ride, a place to stay, training, like anything. And you're like, "That's cool." Royval's always been a cool guy. I've
Blunderbuff
always
said
really liked
classy
him.
interview, 100%.
Yeah.
Ganskow, he will still fight for the title at some point. I agree, man.
Yeah.
After
Definitely.
watching him last night, how can you not see that
Yeah.
this guy has championship potential?
Dude, if he just I mean, it's just he just needs time in high level fights, and that's what he got here. He got 5 full rounds against a number 1 contender who just fought for the belt and can learn so much from this. I think, yeah, he only gets better.
I mean, we'll see how the rest of this year shapes up. We only have a few months left, but I don't know. Your boy here might be tempted, for the new predictions episode. We'll
Whoa.
see. But dude, I was super impressed with this fight.
Yeah, no, he's good. He's very good.
All right, man. Well, that was a fun main event. We can move on. And folks, I don't know if you could tell it up, but your boy's a little under the weather today. So we're not going to cover too many fights because the last thing I want to do is start coughing and sneezing and doing all these things on the mic. So we're just going to cover a few more fights.